Hello and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes all we can do is try and get through a day, and that's okay. I'm Amanda, and today I am going to tell you about the new treatment plan that I am following from a concussion specialist.
I'm trying really hard, I promise, but all that I could do today was cuddle my dog and cry.
This concussion specialist, I found him, well actually I didn't find him. He was referred to me by a friend who also has post-concussion syndrome, and she found that he helped her a lot, and so she passed on his information to me in case I wanted to try a new treatment. And it came actually at a really good time. At that point in my treatment, I was feeling pretty lost and pretty discouraged, and I didn't know who could really help me get to like the next step. So I emailed him and he said he would be happy to meet with me. Don't know what's happening to my voice. Yeah, he said he would be happy to meet with me. His background is as a chiropractor, but he's currently doing his PhD in concussion recovery treatments. So it's actually nice. He kind of has, with his chiropractic background, has a very holistic approach, which I can appreciate, but everything is very much based on research, which is really important to me. The initial appointment, when I went to him, we started it off with the buffalo test, and anybody who's had any sort of concussion will be familiar with the buffalo test. It's probably the kind of golden standard right now for treatment. Basically, what the test is doing, you're on a treadmill and you're slowly increasing the intensity of the speed, and you're measuring your heart rate, and the idea is to see how high your heart rate can go and how much tolerance you have to the physical exertion. For those of you who have never done it, you go as long as you can and you're paying attention to your symptoms, and once your symptoms go past, have increased by 3 points, you stop, and that's your limit. And so the idea is then all of the exercises that you decide to do in your treatment are going to go right below your limit, so that you're not straining yourself to the point of your symptoms getting out of control. According to my results from my initial buffalo test, I was told to do 20 minutes of exercise, and I had a specific heart rate that I needed to meet, and needed to be consistently at that heart rate for 20 minutes, and I was going to do that 5 times a week. The treatment, it had basically 3 main focuses. The first would be exercise, so exercising at a specific heart rate. It also focused on neck strengthening, which I've talked about in many of my videos. And then the second focus was on meditation and breath work. So I was told to do 10 minutes of breath work or meditation every day, and then regulating sleep. So a super common symptom for concussions is that your sleep becomes irregular. Either you aren't sleeping as much as you used to, or you're sleeping way more than you're used to. And I was in the latter. I sleep so much now. When I went to my specialist, I was like, yeah, I sleep 14 hours a night, and then I usually nap 2 hours a day. And he was like, no. So I wasn't allowed to nap, which was honestly super devastating, because it's how I got through days. But that shouldn't be the reason why you get through days. I understand why he was like, that's not healthy. It was still devastating. I'm still sad when I think about it, and it's been 6 months. So I went home I was like, okay, let's go. And it was way too much.
Marchand swinging around the goal. Up for the middle, stick handling.
I was, way beyond my limit. My issue with appointments like this is you go and you already have higher symptoms because of the stress of meeting a new health professional, because you feel like you're being tested and there's like a right and wrong. And so like for me specifically, I think I push myself more than I should. I ignore symptoms more than I should. And so then the test isn't accurate because I'm not actually listening to my body, and my symptoms and like my reaction to things isn't the way that it would be on an average day. So anyways, it was very clear that I was going beyond my limit every time I was doing the exercises. So we started to pull back and try and figure out what my true limit was. We pulled back a couple of times. I was still struggling, so I went back to Toronto because that's where the specialist is. So I went back and retested and I really tried my best to listen to my body. And so we came with a new target heart rate, and I kept on trying to do all of the exercises. He was reducing the amount of times that I had to do it in a week. Like everything was being reduced. But it got to the point where I was so low in my target heart rate and in the amount of times that I was doing it in a week that, according to all of the research that he's very well read on, my specialist knew like this isn't enough to actually make a change in your brain, and this isn't enough to improve. So we need to totally change our approach to the treatment. I think a lot of people are like, what is a bad day? Like, you just have a headache. People say it, they don't mean it in like a invalidating way, but they're like, what do you mean when you have a bad day? And like, when I'm saying that the exercises and the treatment was beyond my limitations, if I did the exercises, I couldn't do anything else that day, aside from like just basic self-care, like like hygiene, like brushing my teeth, things like that I could always do. But I wouldn't be able to walk my dog. I wouldn't be able to do anything around the house or help cook or see friends, go out in any capacity. Symptoms, I suppose they sound kind of mundane, like I had headaches, dizziness, brain fog, eye strain, muscle pain, lack of emotional regulation. All of those things, when you combine them, are very intolerable. And I don't think people who have never experienced chronic pain understand how devastating it is to wake up and have more pain that day than what you're used to. You kind of get a baseline and you're like, okay, this level of pain is normal for me, and I can handle existing in my day with this level of pain. But when the pain increases from that, it becomes overwhelming because it's so intense. And just a reminder, most people are used to living with no pain at all. So the idea of living with pain every single day, people will say, oh wow, that must be horrible, but like you can't actually imagine it. It takes a lot out of you. It takes everything out of you, actually. And so then if you're asked to do more, like cope with even more pain when you weren't expecting to have to do that, let me tell you, it's enough to make you absolutely shut down. So that was me every single day for a few months, while trying to do this treatment with the initial treatment plan from my specialist. I talked about the physical strain of the initial treatment plan, but for me, the worst part was actually the mental strain. I've been open about the fact that I struggle with anxiety, and I don't know if I've ever said that, like, I have depression, but I think it's been clear. I don't know. Anyways, I also deal with depression since I got my concussion, and honestly, this treatment was making my mood super low. There was just a lot of negative feelings because, you know, I went to this specialist thinking I'm going to put everything I can into this treatment and maybe he's going to help me feel better. And every time we would have a conversation or he would check in, I would have to say, I can't do it. And I felt like a failure. I felt like this is, you know, this is the standard. Like, this is what all of the research backs. And I can't even do this. And it's been 2 years of me trying to get better. And I can't even do the most basic treatment plan. So what now? Like, I'm never gonna get better. I'm not strong enough to get better. Is everybody else stronger than me? Is everybody else trying more than me? Am I just weak? Like, am I just too sensitive to the pain? Do I need to push through the pain even more? Which is what I think I was initially doing for like the first month of treatment, where I was like, yeah, I'm in pain every day and I hate my life, but like, that's what it takes to get better. And then my specialist was like, no, you can go through treatment and still enjoy existing. I was like, agree to disagree. It was months of trying to figure out what my heart rate should be, what my target heart rate should be, the kind of intensity and whatever. And so it was from September to December, September, October, 4 months of failing treatment for me. And I was depressed, I was discouraged, I was hopeless. I was like, let me just get ready to accept my fate of never being able to function again. And every time I would have a call with my specialist where I would have to go to him once again and say, hey, I still can't do it. I'm still failing. I still suck. I would have so much anxiety because I was like convinced that he would get frustrated with me, just like I was frustrated with myself. He would give up on me, just like I'd given up on myself. Also, I haven't had exactly the best history with medical professionals, but people with chronic illness who has had good history with medical professionals. But I continued with this guy, my specialist, because he is a very empathic. He has a lot of empathy. He is a very positive person. He has so much patience for me and is always ready to try something else and always ready to figure out a new solution. So basically, polar opposite of me. Even though he focuses on the physical health of his patients, he's very understanding and very open to talking about mental health. And for me, that was really important because you can't treat me and ignore my mental health, because they're very connected. When I'm not feeling well with anxiety and depression, there are physical symptoms, and my capacity to do things physically is very heavily influenced by my mental health and well-being that day. And so if somebody is only treating one part, then they're missing an entire other aspect to my treatment, and they're never going to help me feel better. And this historically has been what medical professionals have tried to do. They've tried to tell me that it's either all mental or that it's all physical. And I'm like, all right, never seeing you again, because guess what? It's both. And I know it's more work to have to deal with all of this. But if you're going to be part of my treatment plan and part of my medical and health team, you have to be willing to treat and see all of me. And for you guys, if you're dealing with health stuff, like, that should be the standard that you hold medical professionals to. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to split this into 2 videos because this is long already, and we're just getting to my actual treatment plan, so that's what I get for not making a video for like 6 months, I guess. There's a lot to catch up on. Okay, so when I was ready to just be like, hey, I give up, I'm just gonna have poor quality of life and never be able to work and be independent, that's my life now, let's go. He was like, I think we need to switch our approach because this approach isn't working. And I was like, well, yeah, but what is there to do? And he was like, I have another treatment plan that I have created for you. It is also all based on research, which again is really, really important to me. And he's always like willing to share the studies that he's using to base the treatment plan off of, which, yeah, is just really cool and I really appreciate. Obviously, there's not as much research for this approach, but that's because the general population is able to do the buffalo test and do treatment based off of that, and it's effective and it works for them. And of course, I am always the freaking exception to every health issue that I have. I'm just so special. Ugh. Okay. I'm starting to lose it. I'm only halfway through. Let's go. Hello and welcome. I don't like that. Hello and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes. Dang it. Literally, as soon as I start. Hello and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes all we can do is try and get through a day, and that's okay. I'm Amanda. So this concussion's for research and concussion. What? He's doing this.